say, dog.
Well, welcome everybody back to WLW Amplify. I'm CT Harrison, along with my cohort in crime at this time, Martin Kattich.
Hey, folks, how's it going?
Every Sunday, 4 o'clock, WLW Amplify. It's good to be back. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff has been going on regarding World League Wrestling, and we'll talk about that in a minute, right after I thank our fantastic sponsors, which is one of the reasons why we're able to do this. Jim Chineri Ford in Moscow Mills, Jim Chineri Chevrolet in Troy, Missouri, Impact Digital Designs,
CT Harrison Business Solutions, and Traveling East Productions.
Yay! See, I'm not self-serving again. So there you have it. Again, welcome everybody. I'm glad here in just a little bit here on the show. Our guest today, a member of our Young Lions division, and as of the 8th, one half of the former World League Wrestling Tag Team Champions, Moses the Deliverer, will be here with us. Look forward to that. We're going to touch base with him and see where he's at these days and talk about probably his upbringing and some of the things that brought him to World League Wrestling and his training in World League Wrestling and all that. So we'll be probably in about the next 7 minutes or so, or maybe 5. I don't know.
And it's going to be a good job. I already know it. It's Moses. He's going to deliver.
Last on the 8th of this month, the event in Troy, Missouri at the Race Wrestling Arena, the tag team titles were lost to the Empire in a team of John Webb and Camaro Jackson. There was a mishap during that match where accidentally someone got a foot in the mouth, and the pin was made.
It's how it goes. I mean, there's always the concept of an any given Sunday scenario.
Yeah.
Moses and Colton, Mo TV, I believe they like to be called. They gave it everything they had, and that night the Empire just had a little more.
A little bit more.
That no way takes it to take the Empire as far as they have already.
Mm-hmm.
It shows the acumen, it shows the ability, it shows the determination of them.
Here's the downside. Not just to losing the titles, but to losing the titles to the Empire, because the Empire now is one title away from holding all the gold. They have the World League Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, which is on Derek Stone. And of course, as we just said, the World League Wrestling Tag Team titles, which are now on Camaro Jackson and John Webb, all members of the Empire. That's a dangerous situation when you have all the gold in one stable like that. And I don't know if you'd call them a stable. These guys don't really act like a stable. They're a force. They're almost, I don't know the word to really describe it.
Well, it's clear they want to be running things, and they have a lot of ability to, make things happen now that there's all that gold around their waist. I don't know which one of them would go for the junior heavyweight title at this point. But, if they want it, they'll go after it and try to take it. I know that much.
Yeah, and it just makes me wonder, okay, and also a win on the 8th. There was also a win by Raheem De La Suede over the World League Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Champion in Sean Patrick, which, to my estimation, that makes him the number one contender.
I would believe so.
So here's the problem. I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, and I'm entitled to it, Sean Patrick has got to look at several different directions now, because not only does he have a number one contender for the title in Raheem De La Suede, okay, he also has to look over his shoulder for 2.0 to come back for Retribution. Now he also has to look over his shoulder thinking, okay, does the Empire want this too? Do they want it all? If so, who's coming for it? So it's threefold.
Well, fourfold, because JDR said that it's not totally out of his purview.
It is not. But I don't think he has to look over his shoulder for it. I believe JDR will come at him like a man.
Well, I'm sure of that.
JDR will walk in the middle of the ring and challenge him straight up. The other ones, Raheem, we probably know, being number one contender now with that win, we know that one's just going to come about. I believe. It's just my belief. But it's 2.0 and the Empire that he has to really worry about. But in the same way, don't overlook or take for granted Raheem De La Suede.
Well, no.
He got the win. He could get it again and win the title.
If you remember, just before that match, that Raheem De La Suede came out with Stefan Newton.
Yes.
And Stefan Newton said, "You don't need me for this."
Right.
What if the next time he has the added benefit of Stefan Newton in his corner?
'Tis difficult. 'Tis difficult. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. That could go in several different directions.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. You know, it's there. None of these threats that he has are small things to overcome if they become a threat.
I agree.
You know, you could think that maybe they could aim at a different place, but you know, the Empire's only got one place left open that they want to aim.
Right.
Or would want to aim, and that's the junior heavyweight title.
Correct.
And, you know, with all of everything going on in World League Wrestling right now, between all the feuds and, you know, the Empire's threatened now too, with the same thing as Raheem De La Suede getting a pinfall victory over Sean Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Is now you have Superstar Steve.
Superstar Steve got a win over Derek Stone, which in my estimation, that should make him a number one contender, or at least up there at the top, because we have several that could be.
That's true. That's very true. But he did.
But he got the win.
Inject himself right there at the top of contenders by getting that pinfall victory.
He made the challenge. He called him out. So maybe we could see that revisited. We could see some titles change in the next few months. That could be quite interesting. It's something you don't want to miss. So you definitely want to get back out to the shows and make sure you're there for those. And as of right now, there's nothing on the books as far as a show that I'm aware of yet that's, you know, in ink. I think there's a couple that are penciled, but they're not in ink yet. And so as soon as we know, we will get that out to you via Facebook and all of our social media, as well as right here on the podcast. But you can find us on what are we on? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Gosh, what else? Twitter. We're on everything. We're out there. So find us on all those on all that stuff.
Now Austin just come in and said that says that we're sleeping on CTV.
How's that?
Because we did not mention him in the title pictures. But the truth is that
he's gonna. And here's the reason, Austin. And I understand what you're saying, and you're probably right, except for one thing. Could CTV, could Colton Theron Vaught go for any one of those titles? He could go for the junior title anytime he wanted to. Absolutely, and I'm not saying that. But right now, Austin, you have to realize that I believe him and Moses are going to want to go back and grab those titles back. They're going to want a rematch and try to get their tag team titles back. That's why I didn't mention CTV on that.
Right. Until I'm told otherwise, which we might be able to be told otherwise or confirm it today.
Who knows?
Moses and CTV are going to want to get their titles back.
We'll ask him. We can ask him. So we'll see. As a matter of fact, I say we give him a call now.
How about it?
Want to?
Let's do this.
So, couple ringy dingies.
Hello.
Moses the Deliverer.
Hey, Mo.
What's up? What's up,
How you
Martin?
doing,
What's up,
buddy?
DC? Oh, I'm not too bad. What about yourself?
You staying nice and healthy and cozy and good?
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's been a little rough to relax ever since, me and Colton lost the tag titles. That's just been replaying in my mind over and over again, but I'm trying to, shift my focus somewhere else, try to focus on other things, trying to get back into shape and try to really get another shot at those tag titles.
Okay, well that answers one of our questions we were going to get to, and we'll revisit that here in just a little bit. But I want to go back and I want to talk about. You were born and bred in the St. Louis area?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you grew up in St. Louis. What was it like growing up in St. Louis? Take us back to your early years, your upbringing.
When I was younger, really, I had a really exciting and fun childhood. I lived in a neighborhood where there were a lot of kids around my age, so we'd always be outside playing basketball, playing football, talking about wrestling, playing video games, and all that type of stuff. And honestly, that's where some of my youngest memories of wrestling came about, because every day, get on the bus to go to school, we're talking about, hey, did you watch Raw last night? Did you watch SmackDown? And different things like that. So I grew up in a really positive environment.
Well, good deal. Growing up in a positive, and we were talking about this a little while ago. Moses the Deliverer is not just a persona or what you do. Moses the Deliverer, in a lot of ways, is actually who you are.
It is.
As far as, and I'm not trying to pry into any personal spiritual or anything like that. I'm just saying that knowing you the way that I do, that's really you.
Yeah, it is. It is. My father actually named me Moses after Moses in the Bible. Of course, when I was a little younger, I didn't quite understand it as much. But as I got older and I was able to go back and focus on these things and try to read about them myself, I kind of realized why he named me that. And it kind of all started to click into my head, because Moses in the Bible, he was a very great person who he delivered the Hebrew slaves out of Egypt. And I love that story. I read about it all the time. Every single chance I get it, I'll read it over and over and over again, and I'll pick apart different things about it and study on it a little more and try to understand a little bit more why my father named me that.
Awesome. Now, you talked about how you and your growing up, you guys were out playing ball and talking wrestling and everything. You were a wrestling fan from a very young age then.
Oh, yes. Honestly, some of my earliest memories of being alive, it was all about wrestling. When I was younger, one of my older brothers, he always tells me how he would sit me in front of the TV and watch wrestling with him. And, even when I was a little older than that, I remember playing video games or, going and buying the action figures. And that's a big reason that I fell in love with wrestling. And, that's a bond that I still have with him to this day. And he finds it awesome that I actually went out and chased my dreams and decided to become a professional wrestler.
So your father, does he come to the shows?
Yes, he does. I don't see. This is the thing about me. I get really, really nervous. Sometimes I tell my family, I'm like, hey, you guys don't necessarily need to come, because I've always been nervous since day one. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. When I step foot through those curtains, I kind of try to put on my game face and try to cover it up a little bit, but I'm a super nervous individual.
So was the Harley Race Academy your first choice?
Yes. About my senior year in high school is when I realized, I kind of wanted to go all out and try to become a professional wrestler. But at that time, I didn't know much about how to get into schools or anything like that. So oddly enough, I went on the internet like any other teenager would do. I just typed in best professional wrestling schools. And on that list happened to be the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. When I looked down and I saw the location, I was like, I had to double check, read into it a little more. I was like, man, this place is about 30 minutes from where I live. And I have the opportunity to learn from one of the best who have ever stepped foot in the ring. So I had to jump on that immediately.
Now, did you wrestle in high school?
Yes, I did. I started wrestling in 4th grade in Little League, and I wrestled all the way throughout high school.
Wow.
It's a very awesome sport. It teaches you a lot of discipline in a lot of different ways. So I suggest if you're in high school or even in Little League, definitely try to get into wrestling. It teaches you a lot of principles outside of just the sport itself.
Was that the only sport you played in high school, or did you play other sports?
I played football for a couple years, but I was super tiny in high school. I was probably like 5'4", 5'3", 100 pounds soaking wet. When you're playing football, that could be a little hard. So, but wrestling is a sport where there's different weight classes. So it doesn't matter if you're small or big or in between. There's always a spot for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you talked about your high school wrestling just a little bit, but I want you to brag a little bit, man. What did you win?
I qualified for state my junior year. I had a very up and down high school wrestling career. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad. There were some things I left on the table that I didn't quite accomplish that I still sometimes wish I did, but when I look back at it, I'm just grateful that I was able to do it in the first place and able to experience it. I got to know a lot of good guys, a lot of awesome coaches that I've had, and just going to different trips for different tournaments and things like that. So it's a lot of things that you get to do in high school wrestling outside of just the stuff on the mat. Like I said, when you go to tournaments, there's a lot of tournaments that are 4 or 5 hours away. So you're staying in a hotel with your teammates and you're bonding and getting to know each other more. And it's those memories that I think last a lifetime.
That's great, man.
Yep.
So you decide to go to the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. You come down, you fill out your paperwork, you show up for day one. Take us through take us through day one for you at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. With the minute you walk through the door.
I still remember as soon as I arrived, I was a little timid to step foot in the building because I was like, once I walk through those buildings, when I walk through those doors, there's no turning back. I gotta go ahead and do this thing full ahead. But I walked in the doors, and the first thing I think I did was I walked up and I felt the ropes, because when you're a kid and all the way up through being a teenager, all you do is, you watch wrestling, you watch it, you go when WWE comes to town, or Ring of Honor, or TNA, any companies like that, and you always wonder, like, man, I wonder what the ring feels like. So the very first thing I did was I went up and I felt on the ropes, and I felt on the mat a little bit, and I immediately got a little hesitant because I was like, oh, that's a little stiff, it's a little hard, but it was still something I wanted to do.
Well, Colton says you're a beast and you're just being humble. So,
No,
I'd also like to add to it, man, that if you can or won't brag about your high school and your amateur wrestling background, that you have won tag team championships at World League. So
that's true.
Yep. That was the most recent. I think it was February 22nd, I do believe, is when me and Colton won the tag team championships. And that day was wild. I don't think I slept that entire night after I won the tag team championships. I was just on such a rush, and it was awesome. It was unbelievable because, again, that's something that you you can only dream of. And when I was able to accomplish it, I was like, man, like this is incredible. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Just a couple years ago, I didn't know anything about trying to become a professional wrestler. And now I'm sitting here holding the tag team championships for the promotion that was founded by the greatest wrestler, Harley Race.
Do you know why I will always remember you guys winning, you and Colton Theron Vaught winning the titles?
What's that?
That was my birthday.
Oh, man. See, I'm sure if I knew that day, there were so many things going on. People were telling me all types of things. I had family members messaging me, telling me I was going to be there. I kind of zoned everything out. I don't even think I ate that day, honestly. Couldn't sleep the night before that. It was just all game mode all day.
Yeah, it was a great show. I remember that show very much.
It was.
So you get in the building and you're working and you're hitting the ropes and you're taking bumps. What was your first meeting with Harley like?
Oh, the first couple times I was there, Harley wasn't there, so I never knew exactly when he was going to come until I walked in one day and I saw him. I peeked through the office, and there he was sitting in the chair. And I'm like, oh, man, like, do I go up? Do I say hi? Do I introduce myself? I don't want to kind of crowd him or anything like that. And he just looks at me. He gives me a nod. He rolls over in his wheelchair, sticks his hand out. How you doing, kid? I shake his hand, and when I tell you, that was one, if not the most firm handshake I have ever experienced in my life.
You are not the first person. You're not the only person that's ever said that.
Oh, my goodness. So you guys watch baseball, right?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen the catcher's mitts?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it felt like. Like a catcher's mitt was just squeezing my hand, and I was trying not to give the pain look in my eyes, because I wanted him to think I was a tough guy, but it was kind of hard to hold back.
I tell you what, he had what I've heard referred to at times, an iron skillet for a hand.
Oh my, he did. He would also find a lot of joy in squeezing. There was a certain way that he would squeeze. He put his thumb like in between the bones of your index finger and your thumb, and that pain right there, it was enough to bring you to your knees. And here I am. It's like, my goodness, this man that is in an electric wheelchair has me on my knees right now, squeezing my hand, and I'm about to cry. You know, that was a little hit to the pride. I was like, my goodness.
You actually went through the school with some of the guys that are now, with the young lions that are now in the ring, such as your tag team partner Colton Theron Vaught, the current junior heavyweight champion, and Sean Patrick, Raheem De La Suede. You guys were all together. Zach, Zach was
Gage,
there.
Stephon Newton.
Yep, Stephon Newton. I mean, you guys were all together, and then you guys got to all pretty much debut together. What was that like to all come out like that together like that?
Oh my! It was an awesome feeling. So I was actually the first one out of the new crop of guys to debut, and that was a lot of pressure on me in itself, because I felt like if I went out there and I didn't perform, or if I didn't do good, that's going to put a bad look on the rest of them and set them all back. So I kind of had a little added pressure on myself to try to go out there and do a well enough job to where it wouldn't hold any of them back, and they'd still be able to have the same opportunities. And which it did. It went pretty well. The debut against Superstar Steve, a guy who is an amazing in-ring talent, and his knowledge about wrestling is out of this world. I love going up to him, talking to him, asking him questions about wrestling, asking him to critique my match, because he always has the perfect advice for a young wrestler. And that's something that a lot of the guys in the locker room have. They always are looking to help out and help us improve our overall game in professional wrestling.
Well, you guys are very lucky, because you've got there's actually several guys in the back that you've always can bend their ear with and get ideas and learn from too. You've got not just Steve, but you've got the legacy back there, Leland Race. You've got Derek Stone. Yep. You've got Jaden Dominic Rose, you got Jack Gamble, you got, there's several. Who am I missing?
I don't know, but you said
Oh,
Gamble, and right now Gamble's wanting to fight every one of the young lions.
Yeah. That's a good thing to bring up. I'm glad you said that. Jack Gamble said that he would like to face every single one of the young lions.
Jack Gamble is one of the guys that when I first went to a WLW show, I was like, man, that guy stands out. He was charismatic. He had great in-ring skills and everything. And he's also actually already went against a few of the young lions. He's went against Stephon Newton. He's went against Raheem De La Suede. And
he went against, as a matter of fact, he went against Stephon Newton in a dress.
He did.
I'm not trying to instigate. I'm not trying to instigate anything or poke fun at Stephon Newton. Hint, hint. But he did wear a dress.
He did. That was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. When I saw him walk through those curtains with that dress on, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I couldn't believe this is actually happening. Here you are supposed to be a professional wrestler, and you're coming out in a dress. But that's a whole nother story. But Jack Gamble, yeah, he's a super awesome dude. And I was a little shocked to see that he wanted to wrestle all the young lions. When I saw that list, the first name that didn't have a check mark on it already was my name. So I was like, hey man, like I'd love to step in the ring with Jack Gamble. But I have to let him know, like I won't hold back. A lot of guys, I think, underestimate the young lions a little bit because it's in our name, Young Lions, and in a sport like professional wrestling, the younger you are, the more unexperienced you are. But I feel like the reason that we are a level above that is because we trained at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. So we learned skills that some other younger guys might not already know. So we came out the bat swinging.
You, going back to your debut with Superstar Steve, take us back to that for just a moment. The feeling of well, first of all, what was the first thing went through your mind, and how did you feel when you first got the call that said, "Hey, you're debuting on this date"?
Mm-hmm. I was sitting at home, and on Facebook I got a notification, and it told me WLW has posted a new match card or something like that. And I clicked on the notification, and when I looked at it and I saw my picture, it's like everything in the world stopped. I was like, oh, like wow, this is like actually happening. And all the way leading up to that, it was nothing but nerves because when you're training to do it, that eventually you want to have a match, and you always think you're ready until the time actually comes. Then you start to question, well, wait, am I actually ready? Am I ready for this? Do I have what it takes? And that entire day was another one that was similar to the day where I challenged for the tag team championships on the third day. I was nervous. I was very eager. There was talking, and I was just locked in. And then between that and winning the tag team championship were two of the best days of my life because it's something again that you always dream of. And of course, in life, there's going to be doubters. There's going to be people that tell you that you can't do it or you don't have what it takes. So when you accomplish those things, it's a little added motivation and makes you feel even better about yourself that you proved the naysayers wrong.
So you're telling me that you didn't get a call. You found out by a Facebook notification?
That's how I found out. I knew that my time was coming soon, that it was about time for me to debut. I knew that there were plans for me to have a match soon, but I didn't know exactly when it would be. So I was just kind of sitting on borrowed time, waiting to find out. And, once I saw that notification and clicked on it, I was like, well, it's go time.
So you get to the arena. You're hyped, I'm sure. You're in the back. You're getting dressed. You get ready to go.
I was hyped on the inside.
So
I was a little nervous from the outside.
So how does it feel the moment you hear your music hit and you're coming through the curtain?
Oh, so as soon as I heard the music hit, I was like, Moses, it's go time. You can't turn back now. You're all the way on the stage, so it's time to get out there and go. And as soon as I stepped foot through those curtains, throughout your whole life, you're like, oh, when I do my entrance, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, or I have this planned out, or I'm gonna do this pose. But as soon as I stepped foot through those curtains, all I could do was just look into the crowd and like take a deep breath and just breathe it all in, the atmosphere. Like it was surreal. That this was actually happening. So I wasn't able to do the cool poses or anything like that. I just stepped on the stage and I stood there for about 15 to 30 seconds, just breathing it all in.
So you have you do a few singles matches, and you all of a sudden you end up in a tag team. How did that happen?
So
take us back to the formation of MoCTV. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, sir. So Colton was in the middle of a match with I believe it was Austin Cravens. And, I was sitting in the back. I didn't have anything scheduled for that night. So I was just kind of sitting in the back, hoping that, maybe I'd get my name called. Maybe last minute somebody got sick or something, couldn't show up, and maybe I'd have an opportunity to have a match that night. And Jaden, the heartthrob, he came after the bell and started, attacking Colton and stumping on him. And, of course, me and Colton, we trained together. We came up together, but we never really discussed being a tag team or anything like that. So that wasn't necessarily the intentions. But at that point in time, I saw a friend and I saw a brother, getting attacked. And I couldn't just stand by and let it happen. So I went out there and I tried to fight off Austin and Jaden. And before you knew it, me and Colton, we formed a bond and became an awesome tag team.
Yes, you did. And quickly got the tag team championships. And you took those off of John Webb and Derek Stone.
We did. Derek Stone. I had a history with both Derek Stone and John Webb. Derek Stone was my second match ever. And, in that match, some of the WLW fans might remember he kept calling me stupid kid, this and that. And Derek, he showed me the ropes. He might be somebody that I don't agree with his tactics necessarily, but I can't deny the fact that he's a great athlete. He went out there and he showed me the meaning of being a professional wrestler. And then my history with John Webb in a June 1st show, I had a tag team match, myself and Raheem De La Suede, which at that time was an odd pairing, but at that time it worked. It was me and him versus Kyle Roberts and Rex. And at that time, those were the tag team champions. And that was actually a tag team championship match because they had an open challenge. And myself and Raheem, we accepted. But that show, I was scheduled to go against John, but he kept saying, I'm not going to face this rookie, this kid. He doesn't deserve it. So I took matters in my own hand and, decided to accept the open challenge. And after Raheem and I lost that tag team match, that's when John decided to come out of the curtains, start beating on me, demanding that the ref rings the bell. And, that match wasn't very long. I was already destroyed. I don't want to make excuses, but I wasn't prepared. I had already had a tag match, and John just takes the opportunity to come try to, I guess just beat me down and tear me apart, which he did.
I want to remind the fans that are listening that you have every opportunity, and if you have any questions for Moses, just put them in the comments there, and we'll make sure he answers them. So, just to throw that out there.
This is kind of slowly becoming a tradition. I'm going to kind of help push it along here. We were talking about your first match being with Superstar Steve. So, and you fought quite a few and been in the ring with quite a few of the guys that have been mentioned in this before. So, who's got the hardest chops?
Oh, that has to be, in my opinion, hands down, Superstar Steve. Now, I have not had the opportunity to wrestle Leland Race. My tag partner, Colton, has. And in their main event match they had at the show, both of their chests were red as red can get. So, and Colton let me know. He's like, hey, Leland has a nice chop on him, but I haven't had the opportunity to experience that yet. So, for right now, it has to be Superstar Steve. And that is one shot that I do not care to take again anytime soon.
I don't want to get off the subject here, but we just had a comment from Stefan Newton, and he says, if you want to talk about me so much, just have me on the podcast.
Oh.
Well, I know why he was wearing the dress, but it's his story, so.
Well, you know, Stefan is someone I don't agree with, so I don't have a lot to say about him right now. All I know is in the very first match of the Young Lions tournament, I defeated Stefan Newton. So, I mean, if he ever wants a rematch, I guess we can do that. But as far as, you know, going back and forth with him, I don't really care to do that too much.
Well, I want to go and I want to visit something that happened just the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We were on Facebook, and some comments were made between yourself and Camaro Jackson. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, any comments?
Well, I mean, so I think that this was about the announcement that I was going to be on the podcast, and Camaro took it upon himself to remind everybody that I am the former WLW Tag Team one half of the former WLW Tag Team Champions, and I didn't take too kindly to that because Camaro is a person that I believe he is being used by John and Derek personally, because I feel like this. They're using him to get the tag team championships back in their possession. And as soon as the opportunity comes along, I think they're going to kick him to the curb. But, you know, I've tried to explain this to him, but he doesn't want to listen. He wants to be hard-headed, and that's fine. But I want him to understand that, you know, when he gets kicked aside, he had it coming.
Well, I don't want to be an instigator or push any buttons, because that's just not me. But what is Derek Stone going to do the day that Camaro Jackson has enough and decides that he wants that heavyweight championship?
Oh, that is a good question. Matter of fact, Camaro Jackson and Derek Stone, those are probably two of some of the strongest guys I have been in the ring with. So, I mean, I guess down goes the Empire if that happens. They already seem to have a little tension between Derek and John, even though they want to play buddy-buddy. I know deep down inside, John still feels some type of way about Derek defeating him for the heavyweight championship. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before that whole thing comes crumbling down.
My idea was to try and have all four of you on the show. Now, I don't know how that might get a little chaotic, but I think it would be interesting.
It would indeed.
Earlier you touched on something, and you know, not that I want to stir the pot.
No, we never do that.
You know, but I seem to remember refereeing a match between Camaro Jackson and Derek Stone that went to a time limit draw.
It did.
So, you know, there's a question still there.
There is, but you know, at the end of the day, that's the Empire's business. I stay out of their business. The only thing they have that I want, as a matter of fact, I want it back, and that's the WLW Tag Team Championships.
Have you
Besides
been
that, they can do whatever.
So have you been granted a rematch?
So far, we haven't. I haven't heard much about it. You know, after we lost the Tag Team Championships, I kind of lost contact with a few people. I didn't really want to talk to anybody at that time. Colton's the only one I really kept in touch with. I was a little upset about it. So I haven't heard anything from the WLW management about a rematch yet, but I'm very sure it should be happening. And when it does, all I have to say for Derek John and Camaro is, you know, one thing, whatever you guys put off last time, that's fine. You caught me and Colton in a bad spot. We messed up a little bit. Our team chemistry was off, but I promise that will not happen again.
Well, I was going to bring that up. there was a little something that happened. I believe there was a foot to the mouth that accidentally happened, and and then the pin was made. You guys are good. You and Colton are good. No problems there.
Yeah. Me and Colton are fine. I understand that was the first show back since the pandemic started. So, we were both kind of off our game a little bit. I don't think we were fully prepared. So I'm not going to put all the blame on Colton. That could have happened to me too. It's not all his fault. When you're a tag team, you guys win together, but you also lose together. It's equal.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one thing's his fault or one thing's my fault. It's both equal blame. And like I said, we were just a little off that night, but I've had a little time to think about it and, try to set up a little game plan for if we have another opportunity at them. And I think me and Colton will be ready for it.
Well, I just got to ask one question here now, and it's a what if. What if you don't win those titles back right away? What's next for Moses and Colton Theron Vaught, in your opinion, if you don't win those tag titles back in your return match?
Oh, man. I really have not thought that far, because right now, the only thing on our minds is winning the WLW Tag Team Championships. But if we were not to win them back, I don't know. I really don't know what would happen. I don't know if we would pursue singles titles or, try to still be a tag team. I don't know. Like I said, Colton is still a friend. He'll always be a brother, and I don't see us really splitting. But, if we choose to go try to achieve, singles runs, then that's fine. I won't be upset at him if he wins a singles title, or I'm sure he wouldn't be upset with me if I win a singles title.
Well, Sean Patrick just said that Colton's busy winning medals.
He is. Colton, he had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. I think it was last weekend.
Well, now the caveat is he says get a partner that's already got a belt. So I think you're getting offers right here on this show.
I think Sean's offering to tag with you.
Sean Patrick. Oh, that's interesting. You see, even though I'm gonna put it to you guys like this, even though us young lions might not always get along, we still have this bond that's always there because we came up together. So I'm sure if Sean wants to tag team with me, I'd be down for that. Or if he wants to tag with Colton. Or, maybe all three of us have a triple bet against somebody. I'm down for either one.
It's funny you mention a bond. I want to go one of the other things we've always discussed here on the show with you guys is the locker room and the way it is in the back for World League Wrestling with you guys and how tight our locker room actually is. Would you want to expand on that?
Backstage, back in the locker room, it's like a family. Anytime, like I said, even though we might not always get along because we have our different opinions on certain things, at the end of the day, if I see one guy that needs help with something, or if someone sees me and I need help with trying to figure something out, we're all there to help each other and help each other grow as professional wrestlers in general. Because when one succeeds, we all succeed because all of our names are tied to World League Wrestling. So that's one bond that we have. We're always trying to make each other better and push each other to be the best that they can.
Well, I got a question for you. There is, you talk about people who have a tie and a bond, and one of the guys that has a bond to not just this company, but a very tight bond to Harley Race himself was Teddy Long, who came down to visit with us for a show and spent some time with you guys and spent some time with us. We all had some barbecue together and we all hung out before and after the show and during. What was it like for you to get to meet Teddy and hang out and bend his ear a little bit?
Oh, that was crazy. Teddy Long is someone I have watched on TV for years. I love his line where he tells somebody, you going one-on-one with the Undertaker, player. That's something that, I'd always watch as a kid. So to be in the presence with him and be able to meet him and pick his brain a little bit on professional wrestling, it was awesome. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, we had a full house that night, a lot of wrestlers that
We
night.
did.
And I tell you what, I think he was, I know that his comments, he was very impressed with World League Wrestling. He was impressed with the way we ran things. He was very impressed with all of you.
He was impressed with Moses for
He
sure.
was very impressed with Moses, but he was impressed with the locker room in general, I think, with everybody. He loved the program. He loved the performances, from you guys.
He did. I think every time that we have a special guest come in, they're always kind of in awe of, the production that we put on from top to bottom, and, the atmosphere in the locker room. Like I said, it's like a family, and sometimes locker rooms might not be like that. Guys might be selfish and, all about themselves, but at WLW, it's a family. We're all in it to win it together.
That's the truth, man. I mean, you also got to meet, I know you watch newer wrestling and you pay attention to NXT. And did you get any time with Adam Cole when he was
my
there?
God, I got a lot of time with Adam Cole. That's back before I made my debut. So I was helping out with Night of Champions, and when Adam Cole was signing autographs, my assignment was to kind of almost be like a security for Adam Cole. Make sure the line ran smooth and everything like that. And every opportunity I got, I was able to ask him a question and pick his brain a little bit, because that's another guy who knows a lot about wrestling. He's someone that's on TV every Wednesday night. So to be able to pick his brain a little bit and see his aspect from professional wrestling, because his aspect may be different from somebody like Teddy Long or Trevor Murdoch. They all have different views of professional wrestling, but they're all guys who are successful in it. So I kind of like seeing the different aspects of how guys feel about professional wrestling and what they define as success.
Right. So tell me what you define as success, in not just okay, if you have a plan for your career. I mean, if you're going to do this for a career, you have a plan. So what defines your success right now at World League Wrestling, and what defines your success in your future of professional wrestling as a whole?
What I define as success in professional wrestling is for you to go out there every single night and not only put on a great match, but put smiles on each and every single person's face. Because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. That's what professional wrestling is about. When I was younger, when I watched all these guys on TV, they put a smile on my face. They were an inspiration to me, and that's what I strive to do. If I could make one little kid want to become a professional wrestler, then I think my job is done.
Oh, wow.
He delivers. He wants to inspire.
Right. So you want to inspire. Yeah.
I do. Yep.
Is it true what Sean Patrick says? Are you really a Pat McAfee fan?
I tune into his podcast every once in a while. Pat, first of all, he was an awesome punter in the NFL for the Indianapolis Colts, which is a team that I used to keep up with until they lost Peyton Manning. Then I kind of lost my interest in them when I was younger.
But according to Adam Cole, he's just a punter.
I was about to just mention that him and Adam Cole had a little falling out, and that's a little interesting. That makes me wonder if they might potentially have a match, because I wouldn't necessarily suggest watching the video, because there were some words that shouldn't be heard, but it was really intense watching that. And so, they might be looking to have a match pretty soon, which I'd be very interested in that myself.
So what's in the future for Moses right now? I mean, you've got you of course you want to go and you want to get your tag team titles back. I get that. But do you have your eye on anything else as well?
Pretty much just trying to better myself as a professional wrestler overall. One thing I love about professional wrestling is no matter how long you do it, there's always something new you can learn. Even the veterans in the locker room of WLW, they always say, when they go talk to certain guys, there's something new that they learn. So my goal right now is to just learn something new. Always learn something new, always keep progressing myself, and, try to be the best that I can.
Who was your idols growing up in the ring?
Oh, man, I had so many. One of my biggest idols was Kurt Angle, because just like myself, Kurt Angle was an outstanding amateur wrestler. He was a an Olympic champion, Olympic gold medalist. He won it with a broken freaking neck, as he likes to say. And he made a very smooth transition from amateur wrestling into professional wrestling. So that always kind of inspired me to try to have a little bit of that same success. Even if I could be just 1% of how good he was, then that would make me an amazing wrestler.
Okay. And I guess in closing, is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything coming up that you want people to know about? Well, other than, your partner winning medals and his next contests and stuff like that. But what else? What's coming up for Moses? Anything you want people to know?
Just training each and every single day. Like I said, trying to get better. And the only thing I'm looking to plug right now is WLW, because if you're not watching us, then you need to watch us, because, we're on the uprise right now. We have some of the best talent I think any company has to offer. So if you're not watching it, you really need to get into it.
Amen. I agree completely. We're on 4 stations, 4 TV stations in 3 different markets, one of them including Houston, Texas. We are on, we do, our YouTube channel has our TV on it. Facebook every Thursday evening. We're everywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
One of our super fans, I guess I'd call him, Sarge, as he said in the first Facebook Live we did for a show, if you're not here, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. So, last minute words for the fans.
I thank you guys for the support that you've had for me and for WLW this entire time. I know this past 4.5, almost 5 months has been super rough for everybody, but, everybody stay encouraged. Keep your heads up. Times, they can be rough, but they'll always get better, and there's always something positive that you can look forward to, especially if you tune into WLW.
That's great.
Agreed. Well, Moses, thanks a lot. And, of course, I guess we'll see you down the line at the next show if we don't talk to you before then. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk at you later.
All righty.
Bye, Mo.
Moses the Deliverer, everybody. One half of the former World League Wrestling Tag Team Champions who just lost their titles on the 8th of this month to the Empire and the team of John Webb and Camaro Jackson. Seems he wants the rematch. He wants it to happen. He wants those titles back, but has yet to hear that they will get a rematch. So we don't know if that's going to happen yet.
I'm fairly certain that there's going to be something coming in the future for Moses. That's the most I've ever heard him talk in just one setting. I mean, he's usually so focused on what's going on at training or at a show, or he that's the most I've heard him talk, and he's focused on them titles. It was asked before we started talking to him.
Yeah.
He's hyper focused on them titles. So I think Camaro Jackson and John Webb need to watch themselves.
Yeah. I think that you can't rule it out because, like you said, on any given Sunday, they lost the titles, and on any given Sunday, they could sure get them back.
That's very true.
A win over Camaro Jackson and John Webb can be done under the right circumstances. And I think a team like Colton Theron Vaught and Moses can certainly make that happen. I mean, they got him from Derek Stone and John Webb, so why can't they get him from Camaro Jackson and John Webb?
That's right.
The key factor there being John Webb.
Well, I try to be, kind of unbiased in that, but
you could still be a fan and a referee at the same time, can't you? I mean, we're separating. You're wearing a different hat today. You're not Martin Kattich, the referee. Okay, you're Martin Kattich, the podcaster, right now.
Both teams could win.
Oh, why do you do this to me?
Well, I can't say that I think somebody would win. That would be me.
Was it the
me
11th?
showing bias. I mean, I will say Moses
the
seems
11th.
very determined.
I keep saying the 8th. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It was the 11th. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate that. Thanks for calling me out. You suck, and I'll catch you at practice. How about that? I'm kidding, Austin. Speaking of Austin, we've got a great, looks like a new class coming through the Wrestling Academy right now. Austin being one of those.
That's right. I was up there for him training. He's coming along great.
Yeah, don't be blowing smoke. I mean, it's not like, you can't be putting his head, not yet.
I wouldn't suggest for him to start calling out the WLW roster yet.
No.
But, he's doing well. He's got a lot of drive. He's another young, determined man to get there. And let's see what the future holds. We have quite
a few of them.
That's right.
We have some of the older ones returning back to from this COVID thing, back to the arena for training, and we have several new ones. And I look forward to a new class coming out within the next year. New competitors. I mean, you only get better with new competitors, and you test yourself with new competitors, and that's how we produce. That's what we do. We produce and we create new competitors in professional wrestling at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy.
100%.
That's what we do.
And maybe someday Austin, who loves to be here for our show, and I appreciate him being here. Maybe someday he'll be on this show and talk about who's coming up training when he's in there wrestling.
Yeah.
Watch it go full circle.
Yeah, because unfortunately these guys didn't get the opportunity to work with Harley or learn anything from Harley. But here's the thing about the Race Wrestling Academy now is you may not get to learn from Harley now, but what you are learning is actually from Harley.
Exactly.
Because as it comes through the guys that are doing the training, those guys were Harley guys, and they do it Harley's way. So nothing, it's still Harley, man. Harley's with us every day at that arena. Harley's with us at every show. Everything we do is still Harley Race.
Watching over us, keeping us in line, keeping us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. So, and I'm very proud of that. Well, I will say keep watching us on Facebook. Follow us there. Get on our subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, all the social media that you got. Search it all, find us there. Thursdays 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock on Facebook. We do the shows on there, as well as the YouTube. You can see us in Columbia, St. Joe, Houston, Texas on TV with more coming. I'm sure we're working on that to get more. We're working on getting some live events. Unfortunately, we are not going to do any shows inside the arena for a while until things get safer regarding the COVID-19. We are working on a couple of outdoor stuff to do, so shows will happen. We're just trying to find some more outdoor venues to put shows on.
It's World League Wrestling, and as we always say, it's one big family.
Right.
And we're just trying to keep our families safe and still entertain them.
And the fans are family, so that's you. We're trying to keep you safe as well. With that being said, I want to thank our sponsors, Jim Chineri Ford in Moscow Mills, Jim Chineri Chevrolet in Troy, Impact Digital Designs,
Traveling East Productions, and C.T. Harrison's Business Solutions.
All right. I'm C.T. Harrison.
I'm Martin Kattich.
And we'll see you next Sunday, 4 o'clock, right here on WLW Amplify. We love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it.